In the last video we looked at the way that the reader of a text is in a sense a collaborator with the writer. Both are doing part of the work of building the world, constructing the world of an imagined world, or indeed of a non-fiction world. In this video we're going to do a little experiment to figure out exactly what's happening. What I'm going to do is describe for you a scene, and I want you to have a go at imagining it as clearly as you possibly can. Picture it in your mind if you can. Imagine the sounds and the smells, and do that as well as you possibly can. Now, everyone is different in this sense, but our minds work in slightly different ways, and so some people can picture things with incredible clarity in their mind's eye, other people not so much. I'm one of the ones who really can't do it very much at all. But whatever your capacity, I want you to do your best to evoke that scene using whatever senses come most naturally to you. Now, with any guided visualization, such as this, it's important for you to remember that actually you're in control. And if for any reason anything was uncomfortable for you, you could just open your eyes again and look around the room, and you are in control, so there's nothing to worry about. Not that there should be anything to worry about here. This is a perfectly pleasant little imagination. So do close your eyes if you wish, because that might make it easier. I'd like you to imagine that you're standing in a beautiful sunlit woodland on the path, and that the canopy of the trees above you is letting in a little of the sunlight, so that the forest floor around your feet is dappled with light. And you can feel that forest floor under your feet. It's slightly uneven, slightly soft, and in the air you can hear the sounds of birdsong, some birdsong very close to, some further away in the distance, and however far away in the distance you listen, you will always hear a little bit more fading away. If you breathe in, you'll be able to smell the smell of the forest flowers, and the air is sweet and warm. So you walk along the path for a little way and come presently to a clearing where there is an old building, long abandoned. Some of the slates on the roof are missing, some are cracked. The paintwork around the windows and on the door is dried out and peeling away. The doorstep is a stone that is worn down in the middle, and around the edge of that stone moss is growing in the crack. Deep green, velvety soft. I'd like you to spend just a moment trying to fully capture that image in your mind. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes again and welcome back to the present, here and now. And I want to ask you a couple of questions about what you imagined. There's no right or wrong in any of these questions, and I can tell you that I've asked this particular set of questions based on this visualization to lots of audiences around the country, around England in fact. You might find different answers if you're answering from somewhere else. But anyway, my first question is this. Did the building that you imagined have a chimney? Now, did you picture it as definitely yes, having a chimney? Did you picture it as definitely not having a chimney? Or did you maybe just not have a clear impression one way or the other? Now, I can tell you that, having asked this question, as I've said many times, that the answers fall into those three categories. Some people see it with, some people see it without, and some people don't get a clear impression. Now, it wasn't obviously mentioned in the description whether it had or didn't have, but some people's minds do fill in the gaps in one way or the other. So now another question. What about the paintwork? I told you that the paint on the door and around the windows was dried out and peeling away. So what colour was that paint? And again, I can tell you that having asked this question of many different audiences, you'll get many different answers. Some people will say it was blue with a white undercoat that's just becoming visible. Some people will say it's green, some red. It doesn't matter, of course. It wasn't said, it wasn't in the description. But what people are doing are constructing the image. And the interesting question for us is, what are they using to construct the image? And if you question people, what you'll find is this, that some of them can identify a specific memory that they've recreated in this imagined building. And that memory may be an old shed door at their grandfather's house or something like that. But they can actually pin it down, and maybe you can pin down where your memory came from. The process that seems to be happening is this. When you get a piece of description, your unconscious mind, without your bidding, without your awareness usually, reaches into the grab bag of memories and fragments of images and fishes out something that will fit with the description that you've just had. And that's fine, you know, that is the way it's working. The colour of the paint obviously isn't important to this story. So it's all doing good, it's all a useful thing. It's fleshing out what the writer has given us. But what happens then if I were to tell you the colour of the paint, and I were to tell you a lot of other details? The more details I tell you, or the more details the text tells you, the harder the unconscious mind is having to work, reaching around, searching into memories, trying to construct something that conforms to the ever more detailed description that it's getting. And the more detail that comes, the harder that job is also going to become for the mind. And so, beyond a certain level of detail, for most people it becomes increasingly difficult to actually make a vivid image in the mind. Exactly where that point is will be different for different people. But we should first of all get that principle to understand that this is roughly what seems to be going on, and if we can understand it, then it means we will be able to develop techniques that use it to its best efficiency. So, as always, if you've enjoyed this, please do click on the thumbs up below. It really is very helpful when you do. And if you haven't already, do please subscribe to this channel.